Hi, this is Mike Matthews, Superintendent of Schools in the Manhattan Beach Unified School District, and we are a district with a lot of iPads in our students' hands. Every middle school student has one, and more of our high school students have them. So I wanted to talk about, if I were a student today, how I would use an iPad. I do think it's one of the most exciting educational developments to come about in a long time, and if I were a student, I would love having one. So let's talk about how I would use an iPad if I were a student. Here's a list of all the apps that I would have on my main screen if I were a student, and I'll talk about a few of these today, the most important of which is my favorite app on my iPad. That would be Evernote. It is by far the most important app on my iPad, and I think it should be on yours as well. It's just an incredible app that can do it all. You can take your notes on your iPad, typing them on there. The newer iPads have a voice-to-text thing that works pretty darn well, and that's a great aspect of it. You can take photos or you can upload photos onto your iPad, and that's a great thing. You see something in class that you want to be using, you can just snap a picture of it, and it's on your iPad right there for you. You can do audio notes or record conversations on top of all that. It's all findable, all searchable, all cloud-based. It can show up on your computer, on your iPhone, on your Android phone, anything else you might have, and it is a great virtual memory app for your iPad. The thing about Evernote, though, is you cannot draw on it, but with the Notability app, that changes. So I would suggest also that you use the Notability app on your iPad. Some things Notability can do that the iPad can't. You can draw on there. You can have great angles that you're drawing with your triangles. You can draw formulas on there. You can make arrows. You can use your artistic sense with Notability. Another thing that I love is if you have a PDF file, you can highlight it, and those highlights stay on there. So now every document you get, you have a record of that. And if you are in a class where drawing is required, you can be drawing cellular structures, any kind of structure out there. And the difficult thing about Evernote is Notability, is it does not save to the cloud. But all you do is email this to your Evernote account, and it's in your Evernote account ready to go. So Notability is fantastic. So the other thing I recommend for the iPad is if you're going to be trying to remember things on the iPad, why not use flashcards for that? Why have stacks and stacks of flashcards or other memory devices when you can use your iPad? The program that I use is Study Blue, and I think I believe it's free. It's wonderful in many aspects. First of all, one of the reasons it makes it different is you can easily upload photos to your Study Blue account and make those your study cards. You can quiz yourself as you go along, and now wherever you are, stuck in a line, at home, in the car, you're able to access your study notes. You can share your your note cards with your fellow students or even your teachers. And it's a great way to enhance your memory and prepare for all kinds of exams as you go along. So we've been through several things. The last thing I want to go through is we have an app that lets our teachers and students communicate with all their assignments, and that is eBackpack. eBackpack is our digital locker where the students and teachers both can share things back and forth. You can have, as you see here, your own portfolio, your own folders you share with your teachers. They can see all that. We're trying to reduce backpack weight as we go forward, and I would hope you could do that. There's no reason to have stacks and stacks of papers and binders in a backpack when you have an iPad with you. So the eBackpack is a great way to go and something our teachers are using. There are some things I have not mentioned here, but one thing you have to figure out is how you are going to remind yourself of all that you have due. Our students are using 3 primary apps. Many of them are simply using the calendar or a Google Calendar that goes with that, where you write in the assignment when it's due and put it that way. Some of our students like the Reminders app because it works for them. You just put something in where it's due, and that works. And one that I've discovered that I think is very intriguing is the iStudies app, where you can actually input your classes, give details on assignments, and organize things that way. I like that a lot. Other things very briefly, if you're not using Dropbox, you should be using Dropbox. I do not save any files to my hard drive anymore. I save them all to my Dropbox account. That way they're accessible to me anywhere, anytime. The cloud is certainly the way to go. If you're using QR codes anywhere, get this free AT&T scanner. You should have a calculator on your iPad. I no longer have a need to access trigonometric functions or graphing calculators, so I use a simple big calculator, but there are great graphing calculators that you can be using as well. Edmodo is our app for communicating between students and classes in a Facebook-type manner, and we find that very usable as well. So those are some of the ideas I would have if I were a student, and I hope you use it well, and make the most out of your iPad. Thank you, and good luck.